Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Keeneland Racecourse here on Monday. It is the 7th of April, 2025. Gonna look the stakes races on the program from Keeneland, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. And join me tomorrow for my bluegrass preview here from Keeneland. Looks like it's gonna be an excellent card, and hopefully it will dry out by then. So we'll be able to run all the turf races but it's basically now a week straight of Keeneland until next Sunday, so I can't wait for that. But this card originally scheduled for opening day on Friday, rescheduled now for this Monday, which I quite like here. I couldn't tell you the last time I remember Keeneland ever running on a Monday or Tuesday in my lifetime. But it's going to be fun looking at these cards. So we're going to look at the stakes races, races 7, 8, 9. Let's get to it right now. Seventh race from Keeneland. It is the Lafayette Stakes. It's going for a purse of $400,000. Race for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of, let's see, a field of 8 horses going 1,400 meters or 7 furlongs on the Keeneland main track. My top selection here, I'm going to go with the number 4 horse Touchy. We're going to go 4-2-5-8 in the superfecta. 4-2-5-8 super. Top selection 4 horse Touchy. This 3-year-old colt by Nyquist. Wesley Ward trains. Joel Rosario gets him out 8-1. Most recent appearance for this horse came in the Sunland Park Derby at Sunland, Mile 16th on the 16th of February. And he finished third by 9 lengths. Getaway Card and Caldera, or the two in front of him, were just grinding it out to the wire. Getaway Card got it. Caldera ran a terrific race for place. This horse was just the best of the rest that day. He just never was really getting into it. First start around 2 turns just wasn't a success. I think he's been crying out for a 1 turn, 7 furlong race. He's coming here off the bench, back to the proper spot. I think you can find the winner's circle a lot easier than you did around 2 turns last time out, which just wasn't a success. He ran two back in the Turfway Park preview at Turfway, 6.5 to Peta, 4th of January. He finished second by 1 1/4 lengths. And like that, Joel actually in mid January went to, or early January went to Turfway to ride him. He sat back early that day from the inside. He swung out a little bit late, but he really came home clear. He just missed, but he ran his heart out off the bench. And then back here, 23rd of October at Keeneland, 6.5 in the main special weight. It took him 3 starts to break the main that day, but he won by 3 1/4 lengths at 63 cents to the dollar from a tracking trip. He really ran terrifically. Prior to that, they actually took him on debut in the Tremont at Saratoga, 5.5 in June, where he had a very good place that day, and then came back to run a okay fourth in the Saratoga Special, where he just had a bit of a wide trip down the backstretch. But I think trading well back to the home base at 8-1, I think he can win. I think the 2 horse Colloquial for George Weaver and Manny Franco can win also. His place behind Menti at Aqueduct on 5 furlongs on debut back in June was a very good place where he gained a lot of ground. He just missed, but he ran his heart out. Then he was on the bench for about 9 months. Came back in early February at Aqueduct, 6.5 on a good main track and a main special weight, where he won by 7 lengths that day with 106 fire. He flew home clear, basically in a trot that day. He's training well at Palm Beach, refreshing here at 6-5. I'm interested to see what he's going to do here. Let's choose him on the ticket. I wonder if he wins here today, what's going to be next? Woody Stevens, or do they take a shot with the Pat Day Mile in a few weeks' time? We'll just have to wait and see. Or do they really get adventurous and maybe try the Preakness? But that's down the road. But most likely, I could see him in the Woody Stevens. But to recap my selection now for the 7 from Keeneland, it is the Lafayette. Going to take the 4 horse Touchy. Give kudos to the 2 horse Colloquial. 4-2-5-8 Super. 4-2 in the multi race. The 8th event from Keeneland, it is the Transylvania Stakes. It's a grade 3 event going for a purse $600,000. Race for 3-year-olds here. Field of 16 horses enter, 13 through 16 are AEs. A dozen will head to the turf course, hopefully, the 1,700-meter journey, or mile 16th on the Keeneland turf course. I'm going to take the number 8 horse here, Scipio. I'm going to go 8-4-2-7 in the superfecta. 8-4-2-7 super. Top selection 8 horse Scipio. This 3-year-old regiling by Caravaggio. Richard Balfus trains. Flavian Pratt gets the mount. Ran the horse most recently at Santina, about 6.5 down the hillside turf course in the Baffle Stakes. And he won by 1.5 lengths that day, and he sat back early. Bit of a tough trip going over the dirt course, but when he found room late, he flew home. I thought that was a very good race. Coming back here around 2 turns against some tougher horses on the in the Midwest, coming from east and west, meeting up here. I think he's gonna have a tough chance to win here, but I think he has the forwardly momentum to get the job done. The turf course, I think, is going to play towards speed today with the amount of rain we've had, and I think this from Flavian's probably going to send him. I like that Flavian, best turf rider, getting up on it again today. He ran two back in the main special weight Santino, 1 mile fast ground, 20th of December. Won by a length that day at 70 cents a dollar. Basically, he basically stalked all around the race course. He's a little bit wide, but he flew home clear. A very strong run. And another horse, like the previous horse in the previous race, he was running against stakes quality horses still as a maiden. He ran a very good place in this SOB DeMille mile. Closed up from nowhere in the thoroughbred aftercare stakes at Del Mar in November, and then had a very good third in the Del Mar Juvenile. All those races, he just had very troubled trips, but he really gained after all said and done. If he would have had better trips, he probably wouldn't have been undefeated 3 for 3 there. His only subpar race was his debut at Del Mar going 5/8, where he's just not a 5/8 kind of horse. He's basically a router. Back at it today, getting Flavian up at 6-1. I think he could win. 4 horse Maui Strong, I think, could win for Vincent Chiminade and Dale Romans. He's only won once. That came at Churchill over the mile in mid-November at a main special weight, winning by 1 3/4 lengths from a stupidly wide trip. He came home clear late, came back to run a very good place in the third in the Diana Beach Stakes at Gulfstream, in a very good place in the Kittens Joy. Vincent Chiminade getting back on this one today. He's trending quite fastly at Gulfstream. I'll give him a shot on the ticket, and I think also the 2 horse Reagan's Weight can win also for Cherie DeVoe and Jose Ortiz. I like the place in the Columbia Stakes, and the win at the Fairgrounds in June wasn't bad at all either. I'm here 4-1. Let's use him in a very wide open late pick 4. But to recap my selection for the 8th from Keeneland, now it's Transylvania. I'm going to take the 8 horse Scipio, give kudos to the 4 horse Maui Strong and the 2 horse Reagan's Wit, and 8-4-2-7 Super, 8-4-2 in the multi race. Let's get to the featured ninth race now. The ninth race from Keeneland, it is the Ashland Stakes. It's a Grade 1 event going for a purse of $750,000. Race for 3-year-old fillies. 8 horses are taking a stroll around the main track, which is 1,700 meters in circumference, or a mile and 16th on the Keeneland main track here in the Ashland. Top selection, I'm going to go with the number 2 horse, Lacara. I'm going to go 2-5-4-6 in the superfecta. 2-5-4-6 super. Top selection, 2 horse, Lacara. This 3-year-old filly by Street Sense. Mark Cassey trains. Dylan Davis gets the mount. Ran the horse most recently in the Devona Dale at Gulfstream, the 1 turn mile that's 1st of March, and he finished second by 2.5 lengths. Mark Cassey before the race said, the ultimate goal is the Ashland in April at Keeneland. They weren't really so thrilled about cutting the horse back to a 1 turn mile, and she ran okay, but it wasn't her preferred trip. She finished second by 2.25 lengths. She stalked all the way around the race course. The winner, Queen's MG, just had the jump on her. This horse ran well behind a decent filly. I think finally coming back to the target race around 2 turns, I think she could really find a good race to win. Also, there's a lot of speed in this one. I think it's going to set up from where she's drawn, coming from a good tracking trip where she could track the leading pair and him home clear late. She sat on the front end of the Suncoast at Tampa, mile 40 on the 8th of February, went in by 6.25 lengths on the front end all throughout in a hand ride. She really came home clear with a high weight of 124 pounds. A very good race for her that day. And then prior to that, in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile fillies at Del Mar, mile 16th on the dirt. She finished 5th by 16.5 lengths that day, and she was wide and just got beat by better horses on the day. But, her race in the Pocahontas, where she gained a lot of ground for the back of the pack, wasn't bad at all. And then the win at Saratoga, going 7/8 in August, took her 4 starts to break main, but she was another horse with every single race. And before that, she was really improving a lot. Finally, with a longer trip, winning by over half a dozen in a hand ride, she really came home clear. She looks like she's a late, developing 2-year-old as the season went on, but when she finally developed, she really became a great horse. Coming here to the target race, like I said, I think she could find the trip to win. I think the 5 horse here running away for Gerardo Corrales could win also, and Wesley Ward hasn't been seen since Bashand at Aqueduct in January, where she won by 2.25 lengths, basically walking on the front end. She came home clear. That was a very good run. Prior to that, Churchill closing weekend, a mile 16th in main specialty, winning by 5 that day. Again, a little bit wide, but she had a very, very good race. I think some good fractions on the front end. She's back here against some tough competition, but it wouldn't surprise me if she steals it on the front end. We'll use her on the ticket. And even the 4 horse Muhima for Brad Cox and Flavian here. Another horse, she does a better running style on the front end. She won the Demoiselle at Aqueduct in December quite nicely. Prior to that, she won a very nice lounge race over the 7/8 at Churchill, and came back to running the Honeybee a few weeks ago, where she just wasn't really comfortable in that race. She was drawn on the inside. She was a little bit inside, went outside a little bit too wide, and she just was needed the race that day. She got beat by very good horses. Also, Quasi, I think a very good horse, Firegy, who finished second, was the next start winner also, along with Fireside, along with along with Quindside. But I think coming here today, she should get some redemption from her last race. I'll use her in the pick four. Actually, let's play pick three, connecting the races seven through nine. We'll use her there. But to recap my selection for the featured ninth race now from Keeneland, it is the grade one Ashland. We're going to take the two horse Lakara, give kudos to the five horse running away, and the four horse Muhima. 2-5-4-6 Super, 2-5-4 in the multi race. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5. Good luck, everybody.